All right. Good evening. Welcome to Hell of a Show. We will get started here very shortly. If you will let me know, first and foremost, you can see and hear me is the first thing we want to know on here. And if you can see and hear me, let's get some shares going on this bad boy. And we will get going here very shortly. Hope everyone has had a great day today and done some productive stuff. Oh, first order of business right there. There you go, baby. That is for my gal. That is not for my guest. So my guest shouldn't be getting too excited in the backstage right now. That's for my gal. So that's a normal thing with the show. And let's see, we've got some few more people showing up in here. Appreciate y'all being in here. Go ahead and let me know if you can see and hear me, and let's get those shares going, get some more people involved, and we will get going here very shortly. How's everybody liking that new intro that's on there? Shows the sponsors and everybody on there. Real nice and neat. It almost looks like I'm getting professional. Don't tell anybody out loud. That's a secret. And Trish is here. Trish, appreciate you being here. All right. Let me go ahead and put this up here. Let's get those shares out there for the waves of change, and we will get going with this bad boy. All right, Trish says, sounding good and looking good. Well, obviously, you're looking at a different screen because it doesn't look that good on mine. All right. Oh, the bionic one is here. David Fott. Excellent, loud and clear. Are you sure clear? Like clear through bionic eye? We'll talk about that later. Yes, I can mess with you. I already know. All right. So we got some people in here. We got some shares going. Excellent. Let's get this bad boy started. So tonight, we have got a guest in here that I have not had before. I've got a lot of new people that I'm starting to show up in here. And tonight we've got one that's actually got a current campaign going that if you haven't checked it out, we're going to get you to go take a look at it while we're on the show, and we're going to kind of show it off as well. But we're going to get to know the man behind the comic, and then find out about the comic, and then find out what we can do to create some waves of change on this tonight. So without further ado, here is Alex Dawe.
Hey, Phil, thanks for having me. Super excited to be here. I'm just super excited. Thank you. My first time here. I can't wait to get to know you and your audience and talk about Zener.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate you being on here. Appreciate you being patient with the scheduling and all. It's been kind of it's been odd this year. We'll put it that way.
Hey, I know. I've been on a couple talk shows and they've had the same issues, so I get it.
But appreciate you being here. I tell you what, before we get going too far into this, take a couple of minutes. If you'll just let everybody know briefly who you are, what you do, and where to find you.
Well, my name is Alex Dawe. I am a writer and the founder of NRG Comics. It's a new publisher form we're establishing that we want to create the next big superhero universe, one day as big as the big two, but we want to do right by our fans, and we want to create iconic heroes with groundbreaking stories done for the fans, by the fans, as right by the fans. And we want to give you exactly all you've ever wanted in a comic that you're asking for now with our comics. And we have a whole bunch of cool ideas to share with you, starting with Zener. And you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, DeviantArt. We have our own website, nrg-comics.com. You can subscribe to us there, get some latest info. And, of course, Zener is funding on Indiegogo right now. We appreciate if you check it out. And you can check out my editor Webb on DeviantArt as well, and our artist Juan, who is on DeviantArt, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those places. He's a great artist. They're great people. Check him out, too. Give him the same love as you would me or Phil.
Well, give them more love than you would me. We'll put it that way. No, I get to mess with my fans. They mess with me, so I try to mess with them first. You know, it's strike first, strike hard is the way we play in here. But so anyway, we've got you in here. We're going to talk about your campaign and everything. But first, I want to know a little bit about the person behind. So I'm going to ask you kind of the story that I ask everyone else, but it's cool to know, what's your origin story? How did you get into comics? What made you decide to get into creating this?
I guess it all started with superheroes. You know, when I was a kid, my very first superheroes were Power Rangers, and then the likes of the Bruce Timm, Batman, Superman, Justice League. I've been surrounded by them, and I started collecting them, and I got really serious into them when I was in high school on my 16th birthday, when I discovered Marvel's Runaways, and I started collecting the series and then branching out to other series like Green Lantern, Flash, Spider-Man. And I just always decided I wanted to create my own superheroes because, well, I wanted to be a superhero, but that's difficult to do in real life. So I decided the next big thing would be to create my own superheroes and share them with the world. And so ever since high school, I've been working on that. I've been taking writing classes. I've been taking drawing. That's what I did in college. I've met some fantastic people who've been developing ideas, and now we're like finally living the dream of sharing them with the people we want to share them with.
Very cool. And you've got some work, like you said, you're dealing with the NRG and everything, and working through there and trying to build the universe that you are. So what makes it, like, how did you get into the indies to where you started doing things of your own and not going more mainstream, like not trying to duplicate some of the other characters that are out there?
Well, I guess in a way, I just felt like if I created my own characters, I'd have more freedom to have a say in them, just to take them wherever I wanted, put my own ideas in them. And also, a lot of the ideas I had planned for not just with Zener, but a lot of our other characters, we realized wouldn't just fit into the mainstream canon because they have their own storylines that don't necessarily coincide with ours that couldn't be done. So we realized, and we decided it's better to just do it with what we have in our shared universe than with others because, again, we have more creative freedom and we can build it in a way that makes sense. So, I mean, it would be cool if we could cross over with these guys, but the odds of that happening are like not for a long time. So, but like I said, we just wanted to stay indie because, again, it was our ideas and we wanted to do them our way. And we just felt it would be the best way we could do them.
Very cool. Now, never say never, because I'm going to go ahead and throw a quick shameless plug out there because I can do this, because I have a lot of respect for this guy. Larry, Niobe Comics, has been battling a lot of things, trying to get his name known out there and whatnot. And officially, I believe it was yesterday, signed his first contract with a pretty good-sized publisher. Antarctic Press, I believe, is the one he signed on with.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly.
They're really growing, that press.
So we are very proud of Larry in that. And I know usually he's in here watching. He'll be watching later on, I'm sure. But I just want to say we are proud about that because that does show that if you go ahead and you have a dream and you go ahead and put your work behind it and put your passion in there, you never know where it's going to take you. And that's kind of like with yours. We were talking backstage about some things and the passion that you put in your work. I can definitely see where the passion is there. And you were talking about how much you back putting that passion in there.
Exactly. Like, oh, first of all, let me just say congratulations, Larry. That's a big deal, and like, I wish you more success. Just like it. Just want to put that out there for Larry. And like, yeah, like I said, passion is like what drives us. Everyone says that that's what I have. That's what my editor has. That's what my artists have. And really, I mean, when that's something you don't find in the mainstream like publishers. A lot of it is commercial, and but it really with the indie stuff. You can see that everything they do has a passion behind it, with the idea and the writing and the art. I mean, this is not more than just a way to make money. This is actually people's, it's their passion. It's what they want to do, and they want to share with everyone else. This is what gets them excited. This is what their interests are, and they want to do it like the others have and present it with others who share that interest. And really, that's where we feel at home, is with those indie creators. And that's why I feel the indie creators have the best ideas, the best artists, the best writing, stuff you will not find in the bigger publishers. That's why hashtag indie support. These guys do the best stuff.
I absolutely agree with that. Trish is letting me know Larry's still streaming on his show right now. Tell Larry to take a break. Come over here and see the show and see what we just gave him props. I just wanted to let him know because he'll tell me later on we didn't give him props. I want him to know they were given right there.
And let me know if he has room on his show for me. I'd like to do his show too.
Oh,
no offense, Phil.
I'll definitely have to talk with him about that. We'll get you on there.
Yeah. I mean, my focus right here now, but if I can do more shows, that would really help Zener,
Oh, absolutely. That's the thing with me is kind of like you're talking about the whole indies and how everybody has respect and everything. Same thing. I don't care. It's not like I'm in a contest with anybody on, if you're on my show, you can't be on anybody else's, or my show is better than everybody else's. We all know my show is not better than everybody else's. But I try to get the voice out there and at least try to get more exposure for my guests. So now it works a little too well for one of my sponsors, which is Jimmy Noble, but it's a different kind of exposure. So we won't even talk about that. Now, in dealing with, the titles that you've got and everything on there, of course, Zener is your current one that you're working on right now.
Yes.
What else? Have you worked on anything prior to this, or is it all looking forward to that you've got projects coming out?
Yeah, well, the first project before this was Empress, Mother Earth's Handmaiden. And the story behind that was the first project we did. And the basic sales pitch of that, it was an evil industrialist who, after a fateful encounter with Mother Nature, gets a second chance at life by becoming a herald and protecting the natural world from all these forces of evil. And that we still have plans to continue that, but actually we want to focus on Xena right now. And actually, the backers will get this first clue is that Empress is going to be our next tackle again because we're going to give it a slight soft revamp to current energy standards, just like we did with Xener. You know, we want to make sure all our characters and all our best ideas are put out there. So we want to do right by our fans and give them the best. So Empress will be getting a soft revamp with our fresh ideas on how to really make them work. So, but Xener is our main focus. But we do have plans for future titles coming from old series and new series.
Very cool. Now we're going to go ahead. I'm going to do a share screen on here, and we're actually going to show the campaign on Indiegogo and kind of go through it and talk about it as we're on here. So pay attention to what's going on in this one. If you want to take a look at it on your screens or look at this afterwards or whatever, I'm going to tell you right now on both of the Facebook feeds that I'm on and on YouTube, I went ahead and put those links on there to go directly to it. So thank you, Trish, for putting that in Facebook. I really appreciate that. It is embedded in the top in the discussion about what we're talking about and all. So just go ahead and click directly on that and you're good to go. But without further ado, let me go ahead and bring up my screen here. And here is the campaign. So this is the main part of it here. But if you look, of course, you got, welcome to Indiegogo Valley, or I'm sorry, Indigo Valley. Here's what you'll be getting. This one right here, read issue 0 for free. Now, I'm going to tell you from experience, if you click on that link right there, it doesn't take you to a site that looks like somewhere Jimmy Noble's been hanging out or anything like that. It doesn't actually ask for a credit card number, no social security number, anything like that. It actually gives you the comic automatically on there. And what I mean by that is if we click on this one right here, there it is right there, because I was looking through it again. I've already read through it, but I wanted to go through it again because it's really cool. The storyline that's on here is different than what you're used to seeing on there. I don't want to give away too much on there as far as like spoilers or anything. And even for 0, because you can get it for free, go look at it, because then you'll get a feel for what's going to be happening in the current campaign. So that is 0. And again, that's for free. That's cool that you did that. I mean, not a lot of people are actually just saying, let me give you something. It's more, hey, put something in the palm, I know you're trying to make money off of this and all, but that is very cool that you're giving back to the community to go ahead and get followers on this.
Well, it's good. It's funny you say that, because we had developed issue 0 as a way to build our audience for Xener, and we realized the audience would keep going even when we did the campaign or not. So we decided to give people who hadn't seen it before a way to see it. And in issue 0 is something we have planned for all of our new series coming out, because we want to give them we want to give them a hook to bring them in, to really get them excited for what they're backing. And that's especially what issue 0 of Xener was really about. It's done in such a way that it's not necessarily focused on Xener, but you still get a feel of the universe that he's in, of this town of Indigo Valley, of the people who are in, of the people who are to come, of the characters, the villains, of the heroes. You get to see, you get a really good idea, and it leaves you wanting more. That's just not me saying it. I've heard other people say it before too.
And Phil's in here now, just getting in, so he's saying hello.
Hey, Phil.
And now it's going to get confusing now, because they're going to be talking to Phil in the comments, and Phil's sitting right here, so it's going to be fun.
Philadelphia.
Exactly. If Philip Russert comes in here, we're all in trouble, because that's too many Phils in one place. That's an overfill. Would that be called an overfill? No, never mind. We'll get into that later. So this is your issue 1, showing the sneak peek on here. And this is one of the covers, because there's 2 covers, correct?
Yes. I just want to say right now that the campaign is to fund the first full volume of Xener. So you're not only getting issue 1, you're getting issues 1, 2, and 3, which tells the complete origins of Xehanort from the moment he gets his powers to the moment where he puts on his costume for the first time. So if you like Smallville, that is the entire sense of what issue 1 is about, but it's condensed into 3 very excitable, readable issues for your liking. So, yeah.
Hey, let me go ahead and yeah. Trish, you're damn right. I am the demon. All hail the demon. Yes, yes. Feed my ego. That's good. Oh, that feels good. Okay, now we can move on. All right, so we have the original cover here, which is all good, great, and wonderful because it's the good guy cover, and it's a good guy cover. There are people that like good guys, but then whenever you scroll through and you're looking at everything here, remember that's one cover. I want to show you the other cover. So we're looking through, and this shows some of the mishaps in the powers that are on there, because if you get power, what are the chances you actually know how to use it immediately? Not much. And I like how it's very awkward. It's almost like a teenage awkwardness to everything else, but you're moving 2 tons worth of equipment apparently in this thing.
And the cool thing about Xehanort is, I want people to know this, Xehanort doesn't have the basic psychic powers like telepathy or telekinesis. He has all the psychic powers. He's got mediumship. He's got aura reading. He's got dowsing. He's got just like all this cool psychic stuff that you would normally not see in comics, but maybe on a TV show or like a movie or something. He's got them all. He's one of the most powerful beings in our universe. He's the psychic supreme. And we're going to show all these abilities in one way or another in the coming series. But what you can see right here is that at such a young age, even he's having difficulty just using them. Because it should be termed to say, with great power comes great responsibility and great training. And people often think when you get powers, you would just instantly know how to use them, but that is not the case here. Powers, like everything else, takes practice to really develop.
Exactly.
And sometimes, as you can see here, it doesn't always go as you plan.
And that's what I was going to say. It's not a perfect scenario. It's not one of those things where it's like, all right, I got this knocked down. I know exactly how to use this. It's more like, let's not do that again.
Yeah. And especially it's more difficult when you're in a public setting,
Exactly.
With people.
Now, I had mentioned about the alternate cover. So you see down here at the bottom where it says alternate cover. There's the good guy cover. Well, alternately, if you're going to do another cover, you can do the same thing and change the pose or put another good guy out there or something like that. Well, we did something a little different on here that I actually really like. There's a bad guy cover.
And this is not just any bad guy. This is the first bad guy that Xehanort ever faces in his origins. This is Nocturne. Now, in the story, Xehanort, after he develops powers, has trauma in his life that puts him into a corrupt asylum for many years where he's experimented on. And this guy right here, Nocturne, he was a formal corrupt orderly. He would just enjoyed abusing the prisoners there. And somewhere in the line, he gains the ability to become Nocturne, in which he's a patchwork, like demon-like maniac who has the ability to control shadows and feeds off the inner darkness of others. He corrupts people and feeds off that inner darkness, and with it, he grows more powerful.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, we're all talking demons here, and we got one right here. So, in a metaphorical speak.
No, but it looks really cool, and I like the way that you went light and dark on the covers instead of just changing it up a little. You went complete opposite, parameters on there, which is cool. And you even offer where you can get both covers on there. So if you want a light and a dark, that way you can have that. But this is like the first appearance this is the first official appearance of this character, correct?
It is actually. This is not just Xehanort's debut. This is Nocturne's debut. So a lot of characters for our universe are making their official debut in this story. Some of them made it in the issue 0, but a lot of these characters in volume 1 are going to be new to our universe that are going to be explored later. And you're seeing just not only Xehanort, but one of his first many villains in his series, and one of his most diabolical of that.
See, I could cosplay like him the exact same way, except I don't have the muscular physique and the long hair. Wait a minute. Oh, I could cosplay as the one underneath with the bald guy. I got that covered.
Yeah. Well, you can. Yeah. Well, actually, the funny thing about his hair, it's not actually hair. It's shadows. That is darkness seeping down from his head in a cascading kind of way to create this ominous dark and really show his powers.
I like that. Shadows. I can work with that.
Yeah, in fact, everything you see on him is basically shadows just molded to his body to give him an appearance that really defines his character. It's like a uniform that Green Lanterns have.
Very cool. Now, how did you come up with the idea for Zener? I mean, that's something that's not your normal setup on there.
Well, this is a funny story, and this is a true story. So Zener actually started kind of way back in college. Now, at the time I went to college, this is when I first started creating characters, and I was coming up with a whole bunch of ideas for my universe now. And at the time, I wanted to do something to challenge myself, so I tried to come up with this hero who was basically a combination of Batman and Superman. But at the time, I didn't have the skills I did now, so my only solution was to give Batman Superman's powers, which it wasn't at all original, and I could not make it work. So I put this character back on the shelf, and this was a completely different character. And then, towards my graduation time, I had this idea: hey, what if I had this character who didn't just have just a couple psychic powers, but he had all the psychic powers? This would make him a really powerful guy. And I thought, I have this old character. Let's see if I can make him work in that. And then with some rehashing and some ideas, we started building on this, me and my editor. And then we actually came to the conclusion that the way that I could have done the original version, and that's what we do here, is you take a powerful, upbeat, morally Boy Scoutish character like Superman, but you give him Batman-related problems. You give him the darkness. You give him the noir feel. You give him the messed up psychological trauma-inducing shit that Batman goes with. And you put that in a moral character, and you see how it affects him deeply. And that's what Zener is all about. You see this really upbeat guy trying to just use his powers in the best way, but he can't because his mind is too broken to use them, and he's continually going on this harsh life. There's not only the life of a superhero, but also just very dark in his own sense. He's got a lot of bad guys with a lot of mental issues too, and every battle, every event just really piles onto him, and you're seeing how it affects him in the series. And that's just kind of how Zener came to be. We realized that right there is what the hook that really drawed him in, and we built on that until what you see now.
Very cool. I mean, it looks very interesting, and like I said, I really like how you're doing the whole light versus dark, but you're going to the extremes of showing that on there, and on the cover alone to kind of get you where you're excited about it. And then, like I said, whenever we're going through the actual the storyboards on there and looking at it, it's a very awkward situation of dealing with the powers. So whenever you're thinking about that much power on the dark side, how do you deal with that whenever you can't even pick up 2 tons worth of stuff without crushing it into almost everybody?
Exactly. And building on that, a big thing for our universe is not everything's going to work out. There's going to be consequences to this thing. It's not going to be like the DC or Marvel where it just wraps up like a happy ending. There are going to be chances taken. There are going to be like new stuff tried, and it's all going to have consequences that the characters and the heroes are going to have to face, and they're going to have to just go off that. They're going to have to make the best of the situation they got at hand and deal with it. That's because that's what life is, and that's what represents in our series is life. It's unfair, it's unbiased, it's unprejudiced, and that's what these heroes go through. It's the Marvel way of doing things, but in the way that you want them to be done.
Very cool. We're going to take a quick break on this real quick because I'm doing something new where I'm actually doing some reads on here. So I'm going to go ahead and bring something up on the screen and do a couple of reads on here so that you'll know about a couple of projects going on currently now. And then we're going to come back and we're going to learn more about NRG, learn more about Alex, and hopefully find some more people going over there and supporting this, whether they do it financially or use the power of that finger, use the right one. We will be right back. All right, so we have got the listener on here. The listener, let me go ahead and read this off to you. Dustin Brunel, the creator of the listener, says, the listener is a series revolving around our main character, Addiston, Addie for short. He's a Native American soldier loosely based on Leslie Thibault, a Native American vet who fought and dealt with horrifying circumstance. Addie inherits the abilities of the listener when his father dies, allowing him to see the dead as well as other supernatural beings. We pepper supernatural horror into a narrative of our story, a modern take on an old stories, myths, religion, and campfire tales. One of our biggest strengths is what sets us apart. The fact that our stories are buried in long forgotten truths. We're not writing superhero stories, we're depicting tales for a new generation. Thank you for walking this path with me. Go check out The Listener on Kickstarter. Links will be available on the feeds. And next up we have Journey of the Shadow Darkness Falls. Journey of the Shadow Darkness Falls continues the saga of Commander Sumu. We're going to go with that one. I'm trying to read this, but it's a little bit different. The humanoid anomaly and leader of the supernatural Sonzai warriors, as he seeks to stop an ancient evil, Nugyo, from being resurrected on Earth. If Nugyo succeeds, the Novum goddesses, a sister dyad trinity who oversee the universe, will be in danger. But with the help of several smoking hot extraterrestrial ladies, oh yeah, and his friend Shujin, a legendary power, Sumu discovers that there will be an unexpected enemy to contend with, Yoro, a formidable, cursed swordsman with a short temper. Humanity is about to be collateral damage, and the clock is ticking. So go check out Stone Abdullah's work there with Journey of the Shadow, Darkness Falls on Kickstarter now. All right, and we will bring it back to the show now. All right, and we're back. See, that was quick and painless like.
Yeah, those were some cool looking projects. Back them. I mean, I'll definitely check them out. You guys should too.
Yeah, they're very interesting. That's for certain. Well, look at that. Mike Drop went ahead and put it in here. Thank you, Mike. We call him Mike Drop because he drops every single link that we mention on there. He finds it and drops it in there. So he's got this one in here, and then you know what? We're going to go ahead and throw this one up here too because they had mentioned that over there. The flesh-eating cheerleaders from outer space. You can't. I mean, just the title alone is like you have to back it.
Yeah, it's throw against the wall stick idea that you just love.
Exactly. It's like, how could it be bad?
I mean, it sounds like it should, but it's not. You know, and that's the great thing about indie creators is they come up with this amazing stuff that shouldn't work, but it does because they put the time and the passion in it to make it work. And I like to call those the Ninja Turtle ideas because just like the Ninja Turtles, they're ideas that you wouldn't think would be taken seriously or be built up into a huge franchise. But I mean, the writers really, they were passionate about it and they made it real. They kept to the fundamentals of storytelling and they made it into something real, just like the Ninja Turtles.
Exactly. And yes, Trish, I know David Fott has a cover for that naked cheerleaders or flesh-eating cheerleaders from outer space. I am very well aware. I am a supporter of that one as well. And David is one of our regulars. He is part of the DemoNation and a good friend of mine. So yeah, we're bringing that up out of there too. Now we were talking about your project and what's going on in there. I have a question for you: is why choose Indiegogo and not Kickstarter? Is there a reason why you went strictly with Indiegogo, or are you planning on going with Kickstarter afterwards, or?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. Mainly, the big reason is we did our research beforehand. We felt that Indiegogo had the kind of the format, the formulas that on the way to really make Xener happen. We just felt it was the right store for us. And going into it further, we realized that there were a lot of features that Indiegogo had that we didn't, that Kickstarter didn't, that we felt just gave it an advantage. And later on, we learned that, and this really made us stick with our choice. Indiegogo is considered the more professional place to build a comic because a lot of Kickstarter people who use it. I mean, it's a great funding, but they do it more just for fun, But the people on Indiegogo who create these comics, they're not doing it just for a passion project. They're doing it to make a living. This is what they want to do with life. They're being professional about it. It's like a great networking site to help build each other up, and really become professional and dependent on your work for it. So we knew this had to be the site we used.
And Trish is actually asking, oh, hang on a sec. She's leaving. She's probably already left already. Just popped in to say hello. Need to try to get some rest. Enjoy the show, everyone. Courtney, get to feeling better. She just had some surgery done on her arm and is in recovery at home, which is very interesting because she's not used to doing everything one-handed.
Courtney, your and our thoughts. My thoughts and my whole team's.
All right, and Trish asked a question. She said, why asking 5,000 for this also is a big goal?
It is a big goal, but we did all the calculation and planning beforehand. And this is the amount we needed to not only make the comic but get it distributed as well. So we cracked the numbers on this. This is the minimum that we need. So it's a big goal we're starting out, but we're confident we can make it happen.
And that is one thing too, is that you're doing the research on there, which is cool because you don't just look at it as, I've already paid artists or whatever and gotten this done, and that's all I got to pay for. There's always the after pay that you have to do on there, all for the fulfillment, for, if somebody decides, hey, I already backed you on this and everything, but I'd really like to get an extra book if I can, then you've got to be prepared to go ahead and shell that out as well. And it doesn't seem like much for one person, but it can get up there if you get quite a few people involved in that.
It's definitely better to be over-prepared than under-prepared. Not just in this, but everything you do.
Exactly. And this is your first crowdfunding, like the big crowdfunding that you've done, correct? Because you didn't do that for the first,
for Empress?
Yes, for Empress, yes.
Yeah, Empress was out of pocket. This is our first ever crowdfunding ever.
And Phil is asking, let me see, why do you feel Indiegogo is more professional productions over Kickstarter?
Well, this isn't just necessarily me talking. This is like, I've been on a couple of shows, and this has been some other people who've shared this opinions too. They've done crowdfunds on Indiegogo. They've talked with people who've done it, and a lot of people they've talked to are like just like them, are not just doing it to make a passion project. They're doing it because they want to make a living off this. This is the job that they want to do. So this is not. So this is like just not me talking. This is what I've heard with other people who've been on Indiegogo. I mean, again, I'm not discrediting Kickstarter or anything. If you like Kickstarter, if it works for you, that's great. Keep doing it. That's your thing. But like, just for some people, it works better for Indiegogo, and we just felt that it would be the best place for us. And this is our first one, so we're hoping that's true. We're just like we're testing the waters, but we decided to go with Indiegogo, and like we're so far we're happy with it.
Yeah, no, that's like you said, it's a choice thing. It's not, it's not one person is right over another by any means. It's what works for you on your project is the main thing. And like you said, you've got to test the waters on one side or the other and see what's going on.
Exactly.
Now, you've had a couple of titles that you're working on so far. Of course, you said you're going to plan on bringing Empress, out and redoing on that, and having that coming out as another one for your next campaign if we go that direction. So what kind of big picture are you looking at on there? Are you looking at having some kind of a universe that you're setting up on this, or what exactly are you wanting to do with that?
Yeah, I mean, the whole plan, like my whole dream from the beginning has been to create a huge universe of superheroes, one day as big as the big two, and maybe even bigger than that. We got to start small. But the plan is to start with Empress, Zener, and then another character we have planned, and get them together a team, and then through those 4 titles, build up on our universe and introduce all these new potential superheroes that we can tell stories of, and just keep building and building, and just so we have this whole universe we can tell all these amazing stories on, and with different genres and different feels and different tones, different characters. We think big. We're shooting for the stars. We're aiming beyond the universe into the multiverse with our dream here.
Exactly. Have you looked into, or have you thought about any kind of cross promotions?
Actually, yeah, we're looking into that. I just want to say right here now, if you guys have an Indiegogo going on or even a Kickstarter, we would be happy to do some crowdfunding cross promotion with you. Basically, it would just be shout outs on our social media sites and our page. But I mean, that's like the basic simple. Like it gets you an audience twice the page. So if you have any of that, we'd be happy to do it there. And we've done it with a few people so far. We did it with I forget who it was. I think it was like Drew Parker or something. But like it was like for one of his books. Then we actually helped him achieve his goal with his crowdfunding goal. So that we felt great doing that. Or I like to think we did.
And see that right there, what he just said about helping them out with their goal and everything, that's the selflessness that's in there that you have on your side with everything. I'm not saying everybody has that. A lot more people should, most definitely. but it's one of those things that whenever you do that, it's not that you're doing that because you've got a contract saying you're going to come back and do the same thing for me on my projects from now on. It's because you're just one of those humans that actually likes doing something nice. They're actually out there. Trust me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There is. Yeah, and it's like I said, like in order to gain a little, you got to give a little. So it's a you got to help each other out to really build. And that's the really, especially with indie creators, that's how you succeed in this business. You got to help each other out. You got to build on each other's stuff. You got to get the word out there because they're all going through the same thing you are, and they know just how struggle this is. And by helping ease their burden, by helping them, just giving them a shout out or a little donation, it goes a long way that helps them. And in return, they do return the favor. And most of the time, it's not even just because you help them out. It's because it's out of the goodness of their heart. You find people in the indie community who are just real class A type people and high class people. And honestly, you feel at home with them.
Exactly. Now, I'm going to ask you one of the most important questions that I've got for tonight, and that is, do you like your bacon regularly cooked or burnt? No, that's not the question.
Well, to be honest, I'll eat bacon either way.
That's the answer right there. That is the answer.
Any way you cook it, I'll even eat it raw if I had to.
So, with everything that you got going on with all of this and all, who are some of the people that most inspire you in what you're doing? Like, who are some of the writers or creators or whatever that you look up to, or that you're looking at going, ooh, I'd like to get to that point, or I'd really like to have them work with me on a collaboration at some point?
Well, I actually have a lot, so be prepared. This is going to be a big deal. First of all, from a writing standpoint, I would say my biggest inspiration has been Jeff Johns. I got into Green Lantern because of him, because I got into Flash and Justice League. He was able to take what had been done before and really expand on it, and that's not easy to do. And he just revolutionized those series, and he's been my favorite writer ever since. But from a creator standpoint, we were actually talking about this backstage. There are a few indie titles out there and a few creators who I feel have really made an impact on the industry, even though they don't have as much as the big two. And for first off, there are 3 titles I want to go off: Spawned, Invincible, and Savage Dragon, all from Image Comics. I feel those series have just been the most successful in all independent titles because they have been ongoing, not as long as the big two, but they're still going strong in some ways. I mean, Invincible did finish, but Savage Dragon is maybe it's 400 issues, and Spawn just went into its 300 issue, and they're doing it in the right way. I mean, they're keeping it canon, but they're keeping a timeline in it, and they're just doing and the creators are still going strong. They keep building on things as they go, and it's creativity at their best. These guys really know what to do, and just the fact that they can do this and still be successful against the big two, it's incredible. They are my heroes, and also finally there are 2 studios that I want to name on who I consider my heroes and making it big in these heroes. First off, a big shout out to Milestone Comics, the creator of Icon, Static, Hardware, Rocket. I mean, that guy, he had a small going in the past, but he made such a huge impact with his storytelling and his characters that he is now immortalized in history as one of the best. And and his stuff is part of DC. And honestly, we would like to get Energy Comics up to that point where we can make that kind of an impact. That's our first point, to get to that point, to get as big as Milestone. That's our biggest stretch goal. And the other one we want to get a shout out is to Zenescope Comics, the creators of Wonderland, Grim Fairy Tales. I've been a fan of theirs for years, and they have a lot of dark horror fantasy stuff that normally I wouldn't think I would like, but they did in such a great way. But more importantly, they are an independent company that has been going strong for over 10 years. Back when in San Diego Con, they were celebrating their 10-year anniversary. Now it's their 15th. They're still going strong against some of the bigger ones, and they're just keep doing what they're doing. And again, Savage Dragon or Spawn, they have a timeline in their stories. They're giving fans what they want. They're building on their titles. They're doing comics right. These guys, all these people and these series and these creators I have mentioned are our heroes, and they are what influence us.
Exactly. I could not agree more on that. Now, Mog is asking a question on here, and it's kind of what you were talking about, but this is a direct question, is do you consider Todd McFarlane an indie creator?
Let's see, Todd McFarlane. He drew the Teen Titans comics and a lot of the stuff. I've met him before. I do consider him in a lot of ways A possible indie creator, I think it depends on what your indie creator definition is. I feel he's like one of the best who's really stood out there amongst other creators who really who've done the creation right. I mean, I've met him at a con, and like he wasn't just drawing or like being. He was friendly, and he was dressed as Peter J. Parker from In the Spider-Verse. So he was a fan of comics. He was a creator who just was he's honestly someone I aspire to be in this series. So yeah, I guess in some ways I do consider him a indie creator.
And it kind of brings up in that question is, what is it to be indie? What is it to be creator? There's so many different questions that build up onto that. And one of the biggest things is we had been talking about is the passion in your work. In my opinion, and this is just me, this is not to start up anything. We all know what is rule number 3, no drama. We won't get into rule number 5 because Jim's not here. So rule number 3, no drama. But as far as that is concerned, if you put enough passion in your work, I mean, true passion, not just look at me, look at me, look at me. It's like, I feel like in my gut that I've got to get this out to everybody so that everybody can at least see it. So it's done and everybody can feel what I feel. That's the passion that's in the indies that makes you an indie creator. That's my thought process on that.
Exactly. I feel like passion is really what it comes down to. What these people can come up with, just like these ideas they can come with, the stories they can tell. They're putting their heart, their mind, their spirit. They're putting everything about them into their project. Because they want it to be the best. They want to give you their best, and he's just these people, not just Todd, but all these indie creators who create the rights of Spinner or Atomic Robo or Sunstone, just any guys who come up with these projects they're passionate about, they are great creators. And I'm happy to support them in everything they do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, moving forward, is there anyone that you have on your bucket list that you want to work with as far as artists on some of your stuff?
There is actually at the top of the list. There are a lot of people I would like to work with. Problem is, I have trouble putting the names and the faces and the styles together sometimes. They're not advertised like in the old days. But at the top of my list, there's Steven Sejenik. I have trouble pronouncing his name sometimes, but you guys might know him as the awesome digital artist who has worked on the hit series Sunstone, which is a romantic comedy about BDSM. But he's also done Witchblade series, and he's done a lot of indie stuff, and I am just blown away by his style because he can just do a simple doodle and it will look like a finished project. He is that good. And he is this, and whenever he's telling a story, he's got this sense of humor to him that's just like, I love this, I laugh at this, but it's the sense of humor that you would find in everyday situation. He gets people, he knows how to write people, he knows how to do that, and he's like a creator who, and I've met him at a con once, and he's incredible. Him and his wife, who also is a comic creator, they're both married and they do comics together, and they cross over, and they're both are able to write their characters and just do art in such an incredible way. These guys are incredible, and I would just love to one day have a comic or a story done by them.
That would be very cool. I would love to see that. Stefan Sejic, I believe, that's the one you're talking about, the one that did Sunstone. Yeah. It's if you haven't looked at Sunstone, it's a let's just say go into it expecting the unexpected, and then you're still not expecting enough. It throws you off in a major way, and I believe he's up to volume 6 on the series or something.
Yep, and he's got way more planned. I mean, not just with in the series, but he's a spin-off from all these characters, and just all that he's introducing. He has stories for all of them, and I'm excited to read all of them.
That is very cool. Now, we've talked about with Zinner, and everybody needs to go over there and support that. Please, please, please. Let's see some posts on Facebook where you'll go ahead and click the link, share it out there. Go ahead and tag myself, tag Alex in there, and let's see those posts and see the DemoNation going ahead and moving some things around and showing that support. And take the time, take a look at it, see what's over there, and definitely get the villain cover. You need the villain cover, not that good guy cover, the villain cover.
Yeah.
or get both. Either way, but make sure you get that villain cover is the main thing. And grab it while it's there and help out in support of this project for right now, because this is the ground floor of something big that's happening on this. And then next thing up, we'll see Empress coming out with a whole new look. And that story alone sounds very cool. And as I understand, in your campaign, you have one of the tiers where you can actually get Empress on there as well with the book.
Yep, you can get the first volume of Empress, like first version of her, like it tells her origin story. You can get that and a digital and print copy of Zener.
So it don't get any better than that. Y'all got to do this. That way you get on the ground floor of this universe being built, and you never know, in a couple of years, we might have Alex back on the show and be like, so, how's Hollywood treating you? How's everything over there? Is everything cool? How's the new movie going? You never know. I mean, it never has anything written in stone anymore in this industry. Everybody's creating their own whatever they want to do in this. There is no destiny in this. There is just moving at your pace that you want to and taking what you can.
And I just like to introduce that. I'm going to give you guys a little to another series we have introduced after Empress. It's called Toon Man, the Animated Days. And that is a story that I personally am going to tell, and I am most excited to tell. It stars a 1920s rubber hose animated character called Tomfoolery, who makes a deal with the cartoon devil to get a second chance at being a cartoon character again. He's tricked and he's sent to our world where events collide him, and that he becomes one of the first few heroes of our Earth, using his animated cartoon physics powers to defend the public from all sorts of crazy and just very serious and very deranged and very all over the place villains. And it has humor in it. It will have humor. It will have action. It will have everything you want in a story, just like Empress and Zener. And it's this one I'm most excited to tell.
That sounds amazing. And my mind's already racing because I already know a couple of people that you need to work with on collaborations on that. We will be talking about that later, by the way. So
send them my way.
Oh yeah. Oh, trust me, I will. But yeah, I mean, that sounds cool. And that, like, again, you're getting that ground floor on this foundation, setting this up. Everybody needs to jump on there and go ahead and not miss out on this opportunity. The main thing, though, is to look at the way Alex has been talking about, whenever other people were in here talking about their projects, or whenever I did my commercial break, he sat there and was like, that's cool that we're actually sharing everybody's stuff out there. So that tells you the kind of person that he is. I'm just going to say this out loud. If you find people like this in the industry, you follow people like this, because they're the people that are doing this for the fans, because they themselves are fans. Exactly. So those are the kind of people that you want to go ahead and follow, because it's going to be quality in there, because he's never going to let anything go out there that he wouldn't be happy with and that he wouldn't want to read personally.
Yeah, and on that note, that's part of the reason why we at Energy Comics do what we do, I mean, we are fans, and we listen to fans. We've heard their complaints about the big two, what they don't like, what they're doing, what the publishers should be doing, what they want to do, what they want the industry to be like, what they want the comics to be like, what they want the prices, everything. We've heard everything, and we want to give them that. We want to give them what they want in the best way that we can with our best storytelling, and that's what we are doing this not just for ourselves, but for you. But I mean, we want to get the industry back to what it was when it was all about comics, not about everything else. And we want to do it for you guys. And Trish, thank you so much for the like and share. You are awesome. And it's so awesome to meet a fellow Iowan here.
There we go. See, it's already starting. So that's the way you start it. That right there is one pebble in the pond. Everybody knows what happens when you get those extra pebbles out there. I'm not getting ahead of myself because I still have a closing statement. We're getting to that. But before we go on this one, I'm going to ask you a question I haven't asked in a while with some of my guests. In today's circumstances of not being able to go to cons and everything, I mean, it's saddening because we can't physically meet each other, which is driving me insane. I cannot wait until we can, no, I'm not going to say it. I was going to say get physical again, but that's the wrong wording. Don't go there. Until we can physically see each other in cons and everything, because there's going to be some hugs that are going to be kind of awkward, I'm sure, because it's going to be like, oh my gosh, I can actually touch people. Again, not the wrong way, Jim.
Jim, I'm watching you. Yep.
Yeah,
keep your hands to yourself. Yep. No. Okay.
Exactly. That's what you have to do with Jim. Everybody knows that. That's just, it's a have to. So with everything that's been going on and everything, I used to ask some of my guests, I'm going to ask you, what are some of your most memorable con moments that you have memories of?
Oh, I mean, I got a lot. I mean, my first con that I attended probably was right here in Des Moines, and it was also, and actually the one here in Des Moines was put on by the comic book club group that I'm a part of, and it was my first one that they allowed me to be my first one. I mean, my first one was when I was a young kid. Those I just discovered cons, but my first one as a professional was with them, like just a few years ago. But some of my more amazing comic con memories have been I went to San Diego Con for my graduation, and that was mind blowing. And just being there, I felt so at home. And a lot of people say it's overwhelming, but I want to come back. I want to do everything. I want to spend a whole month at San Diego if I could, just to be at that con. And just before the pandemic went down, we had gone to C2E2 in 2019 with my comic book group, and I met so many people there that I didn't realize I had followed their work. For most importantly, I had met Ryan Otley, the writer of the drawer of Invincible, and I got to talk with him, just sit down with him, and just really get to know the artist and just what it was like to work on such a revolutionary series. And I even got a signed print from him, and it's hanging up in my bedroom. And it's just like I wake up to it every morning. It's great. And at that same con, I also met the writer of this series that's part of Sunstone Universe called Swing. It's about a couple who's trying to rekindle a marriage through swinging. And the funny story is, like, for all con, I had been trying to going back to this booth to try and meet him, get him to sign the book. And, he wasn't there. I had poor timing on this. And then finally, on the last day, I finally got to meet him. And, I mean, it was so funny because he had just gotten lunch and he had this huge pizza with a Chicago style pizza with him. And he's just raving about it. He's like, "Oh my God, this is the best pizza ever. You guys gotta try this." And he looks at me. I was like, "Hey, you want a slice? Yeah, you gotta try this pizza." I was like, "Oh my," like, "Sure, dude, I'll sign it and I'll take a slice of pizza." And then he signed my book, and he he just gets so excited. Pizza, he actually got sauce on it. It was like, now I got this amazing story to tell, not just about the book, but with this creator. And it was just like this. It's a story I have to tell now. It's a comic book story I have to tell. It's like that I've always wanted to tell with someone. And at C2E2, that is one of my fondest memories.
That is very cool. I mean, there's a lot of memories that have been with a lot of cons and everything, and it's good to go ahead and hold on to those memories because we're going to get back to that point. It's going to take a little bit longer to get there and everything, but in the meantime, you're keeping your name out there. You're still moving forward. You got forward progress on this. So by the time we see you at cons, it's going to be like people are going to be waiting in line all the way wrapped around the building to go ahead and get their copies signed that they went ahead and got on this project, because they're not going to miss out, because nobody should be missing out on this campaign.
Exactly. And I can't not wait to go to cons professionally again. I love going to cons just as a fan because it's a networking thing for me. I get to meet all these potential artists and writers and just really get to shake their hands, talk with them. But I can't wait to do it through my company where I'm big enough to I can actually go to not just a con, but all the cons. Just set up a booth there and really interact with all this new audience, really share our stories with them, just show them my staff, show them what we got, and just be a part of it. Do panels and all that. I feel so at home at cons. So do my artists and my editor, Webb and Juan. And I just want to get back to them as soon as I can.
I hear you. I'm waiting until it's a little bit cleared in the air, shall we say, and then we'll be going back to those as well. I just want to make absolutely sure before, because the con crud alone will knock you on your butt. So you really don't want the other stuff added to that.
Yeah. Well, it's the heat at cons that really gets to me sometimes. You think with all those people in there, and especially in those heavy, thick, layered costumes, they would crank up the AC.
Nope.
I don't understand why.
Sometimes I think they got them completely turned off. I mean, I know they're trying to save money, but woof.
No, you think? I mean, they could charge more just for the AC, and it'd be worth it.
As long as I know where my money's going, if they say, come here and it's going to be an extra $10 per ticket because the AC is going to be on, I'd be like, ooh, reserve ticket.
Yeah, I'll take the golden pass, please. The one that comes with everything that I don't need, but I'll take it for the air conditioning alone.
Exactly. Well, Alex, I have had a blast having you on here. We've gotten to know you a little bit more. We've gotten to know about the project and about what NRG is, has in the process and what's going to become in the future. and I can keep you on here all night, but we're going to go ahead and cut this down for now. And we're going to go ahead and ask if you'll give us one last audible shout out on where we can find you, and then we'll be closing out for tonight.
I would be more than happy to. So, guys, NRG Comics is on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, DeviantArt. We also got small places on Tapas and Webtoons. We have our own website, nrg-comics.com. But more importantly, you can find Zener Mastermind now crowdfunding on Indiegogo. And we have amazing perks. You can get drawn into the comic. You can get a digital and print copy of alternate covers. You can get an Empress book. You can get a character sketch done by our artist Juan. You can get a shout out in the book. We got a lot of rewards here that we would give you in exchange for back in your book. So come check us out. Support us if you can. Share the news with everyone on Facebook or social media that you have. The more people that know about Zener, the more likely it'll be published. Thank you. God bless. Good luck.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Alex. I'm going to put you backstage for now and do my closing statements, and I will see you here shortly.
See you shortly.
All right. So we had a hell of a show, hell of a guest on here, and thank you everyone for being on here. Now, I always have a closing statement. Tonight's not going to be any different. And it sure seems like more and more of you are reaching out to me saying that you enjoy the closing statement, so I'm trying to keep that going. I don't want to change that up. I usually base it on my guest, and tonight's not going to be any different on that. Tonight's closing statement is a fairly simple one, and it's going to sound kind of awkward, but go with me on this one. Be the superhero. Now, not be a superhero, be the superhero. What does that mean exactly? Well, we've talked a lot on this show tonight about if you want something done, you go ahead and put the passion into it, you put the work into it, you build into it, you got a foundation. We talked to Alex about all of his stuff. We talked a little bit, giving props to Larry about congratulations on being, on a contract with a big size publisher and everything, which is great. So here's the thing. How do you be the superhero? Does that mean that you have to be a Batman scenario where you have to have unlimited amounts of money and absolutely no powers whatsoever? I know I irritated the snot out of some DC people right there, but just get over it. You don't have to have the money. It's not about the money. There are people out there that have the money and may not have any idea that we even exist. So be the superhero. Go ahead and reach out. Let everybody know. Scream it from the mountains that the indies are here and not going anywhere. We didn't go pencils down at any single time here, and it's not going to happen anytime in the near future at all. There is more passion involved in what goes on in this industry, on this area right here, than anywhere else. And everyone knows that's true. So if there's that much passion here in what the artists, the creators, the writers, the editors, everybody's doing, how does that make it any different for us, the fans, to go ahead and put in less passion into what we do? So be the superhero. One way you can do that, you throw a pebble into a pond, you get ripples. Throw enough pebbles in that pond, get the waves of change. So until next time, which will be on Tuesday, and I've got a double show kicked up for that one. So that should be, it may almost be 2 hours for that one. We'll see how that goes. Quickly though, if you are a fan of Unscripted, and who is not, and why wouldn't you be, you don't want to miss out on this Saturday. This Saturday is going to be the bad boys of Facebook. Yeah, you don't want to miss out. The list that I've got on here, well, this may be our last show. I know I've said that in the past before, but with just the people that are going to be on the panel, it may be over with. So if it's my last show, everybody needs to show up for this one and go ahead and wish us good luck. So until next time, y'all go ahead and keep it indie, y'all.